What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Trinity Wolf, and well, you guys voted for it. We played Evil Heroes at our last locals, and because you guys wanted the Evil Heroes over the Vampire Zombies, but that one's coming up next because I asked which ones you guys wanted to see first. You chose Evil Heroes, and I got it for you guys. And we so happened to take second place at our locals with it. I honestly didn't think I was gonna do that well with it, to be fairly honest. But we got second place, and this was strictly for fun, because, you know, this deck, Evil Heroes have a lot of weird cards in it, not very powerful cards like how a lot of our new hero stuff is today, but greatly enough, a lot of our stuff works pretty well with the old Evil Hero stuff. But we got second place with it, so I hope you guys are ready to jump into this deck profile. But before we get started with that, if you are new to the channel, please destroy that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button for me, and what do you think about Evil Heroes? After yesterday, I'm starting to think I might put a small package into my competitive deck, to be quite honest with you. But we really just wanted to have some fun. You know, it's Halloween. It was just locals. I mean, I didn't have to take it as, you know, it didn't have to be serious at all. But I wanted to give you guys some juicy content. And of course, if you want to see this deck in action, just stay tuned, because I will have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Day episode just for this Evil Heroes, and maybe some live duels as well, just to have a one-on-one matches with it so you guys can see how it worked in action. But anyway, guys, let's get started with this deck profile. All right, of course, you guys, so you know how we're going to start this off. Vision Heroes, of course. We were actually only playing 2 copies of Vision Hero Ferris. I was trying to make the deck as small as I could, and because we had to squeeze so many Evil Heroes, I just had to take a lot of cards out, but it worked out pretty well, you know, because we really only need to resolve it once. So it was 2 Ferris, 2 copies of Vion. I was honestly trying to work with 1 Vion, but it just was not working out when I was testing it, because if I saw the Vion in hand, just killed the whole Vision Hero package, so it just wasn't working. And then, of course, you know how we do it still. 1 copy of Vision Hero Increase. I'm never going to bump this card up to 2. I don't care what happens. It'll never happen. Then, of course, for Elemental Heroes, we got 2 copies of Elemental Hero Stratos, 1 Liquid Soldier, and 1 Shadow Mist. You guys already know, if you've been following me for some time, I hate 1 Shadow Mist. And it did come up where I really wish I had another one, but I was still managing. I still was able to manage to continue my plays and beat and win the game anyway, but I had to squeeze in more stuff, you guys. So I would play 2 Mist, but I only had room for so much because I wasn't trying to make the deck, you know, massive. And then, of course, last but not least, 1 Elemental Hero Neos. And then for our Destiny Hero package, very small, you guys, just 2 Malicious and 1 Denier. Yes, no Plasma, no Dark Angel. We built this deck to go second. I know that's kind of weird for how, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is right now. It's really just so good to go first, but we built this deck to go second. But if you were just like, well, they're really good cards, I know that. They are just in the side deck. So Dark Angel and Plasma are still in the deck. They're just into the side deck. And now, of course, the moment everybody's been waiting for, the Evil Heroes. So we've got 2 copies of Adusted Gold. I was thinking about 3 just because this is like the main searcher, but the fact that it's only once per turn, you know, you only need to resolve it so many times. Literally searches for any other Evil Hero spell or trap in the deck. You know, your Dark Fusion, Dark Calling, even the field spell that we need just to be able to super poly our opponent's stuff away. Even Evil Mind we can search for, which is actually also into the deck. 1 copy of Sinister Necrom. This one just allows us to special summon pretty much any Evil Hero from the deck. Ones like Evil Hero Infernal Gainer and 1 Evil Hero Malicious Edge. I know Infernal Gainer is not the craziest card, and really the only way to get him out, to be honest, is if you've never normal summoned or with Sinister Necrom. Now, that's like really the only way to get him out. And if you guys don't know what he does, if he would have just had a banish from the graveyard effect, he'd have been so much better. But Basically, you banish him from the field, target a fiend monster you control, and it can attack twice. Not just for the turn, just indefinitely. That monster can attack twice. So if you tribute Infernal Gainer, target Malicious Bane, Malicious Bane can attack twice from now on. And then during the second standby phase, after he's been banished, he returns to the field. So that's pretty much all his effects. And Malicious Edge is just basically the biggest monster into the deck. All he does is piercing damage. He's basically Blade Edge. He's the evil hero version of Blade Edge. If you guys haven't picked up on how the evil heroes are, like this is supposed to be Captain Gold, this is supposed to be Blade Edge, Necro Shade, and I'm actually not quite sure who Infernal Gainer is supposed to be, but I'll probably figure that out later. But yeah, that was it for our evil heroes. Onto the hand traps. 2 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, 2 copies of DD Crow, and then of course the MVP, Nibiru, the Primal Being. Because this is a rock monster, even if we don't get to actually use Nibiru, and drawing into it doesn't feel as bad either, because it's like, oh, well, I didn't get to Nibiru my opponent, but I can actually use it as fusion material for Bane and even Dark Gaia. So the fact that we can use it as fusion material makes it not dead. So that's why you have to play Nibiru. And then moving on to our spell cards, of course, triple copies of Hero Lives. This is a must. 1 reinforcements. Sorry, I don't know why I always call it rivalry. Reinforcements. 1 Foolish Burial. And that's pretty much it for our consistency. I don't know if this is really considered consistency, because you have to control a fiend. 1 copy of Evil Mind. If you guys have never seen this card before, it basically relies on your opponent to use its effects, and you have to control a fiend monster. This is why we like to go second. If they have 1, basically depending on how many cards they have in the graveyard, you can choose one of the following effects. 1 or more, you can draw a card. 4 or more, you can add a hero monster or 1 dark fusion monster from your deck to your hand. And then 10 plus, you can add a polymerization spell or a fusion spell from your deck to your hand. That includes super polymerization. So Evil Mind can search super poly. So it's mostly just for an extra extender to either draw a card or add a hero, because I never got to the point where my opponent would have 10 cards in their grave. I had one where they had 8. So then I was like, they have 8, so I just chose not to add this, and I added something else. But I did get to use it one time, so which y'all see you will see it in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Day episode. Yet again, I will remind everybody, this is just really a for fun deck. I tried to make it as competitive as possible, but this deck is really just for fun, just for the holidays. You know, it's Halloween, so why not do Evil Heroes? That's why you see the Dark World structure deck playmat on the field. This is like the most Halloweenish looking playmat I have. So we just went with that. 2 copies of Fusion Destiny. The reason not for 3, really because a lot of our evil heroes are not dark, kind of funny enough. The really only good dark one is Bane. The rest of them are literally Earth for some reason. Because Edge is a Earth, Infernal Gainer is a Earth, Gold is Light, a Malicious Fiend is Fire. Like, they're all different attributes. So we don't really want to see Fusion Destiny. But then, of course, it always is such a powerful card to see anyway. And then, of course, 1 Polymerization and 1 Miracle. Of course, you guys know me. If you guys have been following me, I love 2 copies of Polymerization. I'll explain again. Had to make room in the deck for stuff. So, that's the only reason. And then, of course, triple copies of Super Polymerization. What would an evil hero deck be without Super Polymerization? I mean, this is literally the Supreme King's card, you guys. Like, if we were not playing Super Polymerization, would I even be able to call this an evil hero deck? And of course, 1 Dark Calling and 1 Dark Fusion. I know a lot of people know Dark Calling because it's a way better version than Dark Fusion. But for those of you who don't know what Dark Fusion does, it's basically Polymerization, but for a fiend monster. So it's basically just for evil heroes. But the monster you fusion summon that turn with this effect cannot be targeted for the turn. So if you fusion summon for Malicious Bane using Dark Fusion, that monster cannot be targeted. Just for the turn, which I think is stupid. Like, I felt like it should have been indefinitely, but can't be targeted that turn. But basically, if you're able to kill your opponent, it's pretty much GG's. 1 copy of Mass Change. Of course, I'd play more, but we needed to make room. one copy of Supreme King's Castle, and I bet a lot of these cards are just so new to you guys. Supreme King Castle is the field spell for basically evil heroes. Basically, you can fusion summon your evil hero monsters with other effects other than Dark Fusion. So that way you're able to use Super Polymerization, you're able to use the regular Polymerization. You're basically able to fusion summon evil heroes with different ways other than Dark Fusion with this card. So it allows you just, because for some reason evil heroes have that weird restriction with just Dark Fusion. If we were just able to fusion summon them with any other regular fusion spell, that'd be great. But you know, it's anime stuff. So also, basically, if a fiend monster battles an opponent's monster, you can send one evil hero monster from your deck or extra deck to the grave, and that monster gains attack equal to the level of the monster to the graveyard times 200. So it gains 200 attack for each level of the monster that you sent. Oh, and of course, last but not least, for spells, Call by the Grave, and then we'll just go to our traps, 2 Imperm, and 1 Favorite Contact. The fun thing about Favorite Contact is, because it ignores summoning conditions, you can also summon evil heroes off of Favorite Contact. This situation never came up, but my thought process on it was, if I've used Bane and a lot of my other evil heroes, and my board just so happens to get, you know, wrecked, and I still have Favorite Contact, I can Favorite Contact my Malicious Edge and my Bane back into the deck, and then that gives me access to Malicious Fiend. So now I've got Bane back in the extra deck, so I can use him again with Dark Fusion or Dark Calling, and just being able to access those cards again. And then Malicious Fiend is also a really crazy card too. Alright, that was it for the extra deck. I think I played 46 cards. I'm honestly not sure. I was kind of in a rush to make it because I was building and building the deck, and then next thing I knew, I was like, oh crap, like local starts in like 30 minutes, I gotta go. So, but of course I thought about it. I was building it for hours, and then I was just like, I don't have enough time, so I never really counted how many cards it was. I was like, this is good enough. I scooped it together and put it, and then just took it. But anyway, onto the extra deck, you guys. For our links, we are only playing 3 link monsters: 1 Cross, 1 Wonder, 1 Infernal Divisor. The reason for our just 1 Cross is because of Super Poly. If we Super Poly our opponent's stuff before we, you know, do any hero stuff, we get locked. So we wouldn't be able to use any of Cross's effects if we fusion summon anything else other than heroes, because we have other Super Poly targets in our extra deck other than heroes. So I wanted to make room for those, and as well as like, well, I might or not be able to use these effects this turn because we were going second, and basically if we don't kill them that turn, we have follow-up for the next turn, because we weren't able to use Infernal Divisor's effects. We wouldn't be able to use his effects either, but you can still summon him to the field, but he's basically just only going to be boosting your Fiend monsters at that point. You won't be able to actually activate any of his effects, other than Wonder Driver, of course. Wonder Driver you can activate regardless, so that's why we love Wonder Driver. It doesn't have any of these stupid only heroes restrictions. I really don't think that these cards should have had that restriction anyway, but they do, and we gotta live with it. So that was it for the links. And then of course, basically everything else is gonna be fusion. So we'll go for E-Heroes. 1 Sun, 1 Rage, 1 Wake Up, and 1 Shining Neo Swingman. And yeah, there's a lot of other E-Heroes missing. There's no Absolute Zero. We had no room for Ab Zero, and doesn't really come up that much anymore anyway. So I was like, I felt pretty good about not having him in the deck just because I knew it wasn't going to come up. But every single one of these did. These always came up, always will. So these are pretty much just the standard E-Heroes to have into your extra deck from pretty much now on. Of course, funny enough, 1 Destiny Hero, which is going to be our Phoenix Enforcer, 1 Master Hero Darklaw, and that was it for like our main hero stuff. And then of course for our evil heroes, we've got 1 evil hero, Malicious Fiend, 1 evil hero, Malicious Bane, and of course, honestly, the MVP of that locals was evil hero Dark Gaia. Really, Dark Gaia basically won me 2 games, to be quite honest. Huge monster because, you know, you're summoning him with Nibiru, so that's already 3,000 attack. And then with whatever evil hero monster you give him as well. And then one of the games I made him with Dark Fusion, so he couldn't be targeted either. Because I had, like, if you guys, you know, hit that notification button so you'll know when that Yu-Gi-Oh! Day episode will be up and running. I made this with Dark Fusion, and my opponent had IP and stuff, so I knew he was going to go for a unicorn play with whatever big monster I made. So I was able to make Dark Gaia with Dark Fusion. So he was not able to target Gaia with his effects, so he had to just basically bounce Sunrise back to my hand. And then since I was able to continue my main phase, I literally just Miracle Fusioned into Wake Up Your Elemental Hero, and I was just able to just, like, it was just ridiculous. And like Dark Gaia had like 5,600 attack. Like, he was absolutely nuts. The only one that never came out was Malicious Fiend, which kind of sucks. Like, I really, really love Malicious Fiend, but it never had the chance to show its day, unfortunately. I know most of you guys were probably thinking about, like, what about the other evil heroes? But like I said, I try to go as competitive as possible, and for me, these were the strongest ones that we have. So I basically went for these ones. And then, of course, Malicious Bane. I had a Blackwing player. He just had a hard time outing this Malicious Bane. Like, he just couldn't. It was just hard for him to get rid of it. So I love Bane. He honestly might come back into my competitive deck. And then, of course, for our fusion targets, one Mud Dragon, one Garura, and one Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. But alright guys, this was it for my Evil Hero Holiday Special deck. If you guys like this, or even want to try it out for yourselves, or maybe even just try to improve it a little bit, because, I mean, I don't care. This was just for fun. I had a lot of fun yesterday playing it. So hit that thumbs up button for me, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know when the Yu-Gi-Oh! Day episode will come out, so you can actually watch this deck in action. And I will see you guys in the next video.